With Kate and Anthony's love story, Lady Whistledown's gossip column, and Lady Danbury's wisdom, Season 2 of Bridgerton was very interesting to watch. Fans can't wait to see what Season 3 has in store for these characters. Even though the drama is the main focus of this show, there are a lot of funny parts that keep people laughing. Here are some of the funniest things that happened on the show. Kicking us off, the first chuckle and Simon's arrogance. One of the most popular episodes of Bridgerton is the first one. This may be because it shows how their society and families work. When the audience sees the Bridgerton family getting ready for Daphne's big debut, the siblings are getting more and more impatient for her to come downstairs. Eloise doesn't go upstairs to see if she's okay. Instead, she stands at the bottom of the stairs and yells. It's a funny show that makes at least one person laugh, giving the audience a taste of the show's light humor. Bridgerton fans hate Simon's arrogance, but at the beginning of the show, it's funny. When Daphne runs into Simon at a ball and tries to start a conversation to get Nigel to stop bothering her, Simon thinks it's a plan by another young woman who wants to marry the Duke. It's funny because Simon thinks he's the star of the ball and is upset about all the attention he doesn't want, but Daphne has no idea who he is. Next, Anthony's false pride and Violet Bridgerton's cleverness. When Anthony and Kate meet for the first time, she will always ride her horse faster. When she says that he didn't tell anyone that he saw her riding alone, he pretends to be proud and says that he wouldn't admit to losing to a strange woman in the park. Losing races to strange women in parks at dawn. Imagine the question I would face. This is one of Anthony's best lines in Bridgerton because it shows his subtle interest in a woman after being so sure he doesn't need love to get married. Even though it's a funny line that at least makes people smile, it's also the moment when their relationship starts to grow. After doing some research, Lady Bridgerton finds out that Nigel Berbrook was involved in a scandal in the past. She and her friends decide to spread the word to ruin his reputation so that Daphne doesn't have to marry him. "We shall do what women do. We shall talk," they said. This is not only a funny way for Violet to explain how they'll ruin Berbrook's reputation, but it also pokes fun at how people in their society see women. Other characters say passionate lines about how hard it is for women, but Violet says this line with gusto and confidence in the power of women. Moving on, Whistledown's wit and teasing siblings. All is fair in love and war. Even though it's clear that Lady Whistledown didn't come up with this line, Bridgerton thinks this is one of her best quotes. Even though the writer says similar things in other issues of her gossip paper, this one is more like the scandalous relationships that are the focus of her gossip. It's funny that she says this because it fits with how love works in the show. It's almost like the whole season is a complicated battle of wills and wits. The Bridgerton family is one of the funniest things about the show. Many people know what it's like to have to deal with teasing and taunting from siblings or have been through it themselves. However, it's always nice to see a realistic portrayal of how siblings interact on screen. Many times, these siblings can be seen making fun of each other. When Benedict says in no uncertain terms that Anthony's cold attitude won't help him find a wife, have you already found a wife? Or do you want to upset every young girl until none of them are left? It's funny because it's true, someone said. Eloise's naivety and Kate's haughtiness. How does a woman become pregnant? I thought you had to be married to do that. It doesn't even seem to be a requirement. Even though Eloise has a lot of funny and snarky lines in Bridgerton, this is one of her best. People often think that this Bridgerton sister is smart and funny, and that she cares more about what she knows than what's going on socially. But when she bursts into her house and asks this question, it's one of her funniest moments because she's finally found something that completely shocks and confuses her. Even though it's sad that many of the young women in the show doesn't know much about sex and reproduction, it's funny that this serious question is being asked so quickly. Kate Sharma is many things, and her character has a lot of depth, but one of the funniest things about her is that she likes to win. When she beats Anthony at a game, she says, "Beating you feels the same as any other win, but somehow smells sweeter." The funniest thing about this line is that Anthony is also competitive, which makes them even more attracted to each other. This makes Anthony feel bad about himself, since one of the most frustrating things about this show is how stubborn Anthony is and how he won't listen to the advice of the people closest to him. It's nice to see how proud Kate brings him down a notch or two. Finally, the dramatics and Anthony's funny sitting posture. Even though a lot of people like this show because of how dramatic it is, some scenes and lines are so dramatic that they are funny. Oh, Pen. Oh, you're here at last. I've started talking to trees because I only have my family to talk to. Eloise says this line in a funny way, but the way she says it shows how impatient she is is with the other socialites around her. This makes the line even funnier. Even though her siblings are in charge of drama, Eloise's most funny trait is often the way she shows how annoyed she is with the world. Due to season 2 of Bridgerton, everyone's new favorite leading man is Anthony Bridgerton, which was previously held by his brother-in-law, the Duke of Hastings. Now, fans have remembered a funny thing that the two of them did together. Any fan of the Netflix original Bridgerton knows that each season is centered on a different love story. Last season, Phoebe Dynevor and Regé Jean Page played Daphne Bridgerton and Simon Bassett. This season, Jonathan Bailey and Simone Ashley played Anthony and Kate Sharma. Kate wasn't in season 1, but Anthony was. He played Daphne's single brother, who shared a gentleman's club with the Duke, who was interested in her. In one clip, the two can be seen talking to each other, but their body language is very different. While Simon is sitting up straight and leaning in, Anthony is slouching, which shows how relaxed he is. Fans now find this hilarious. One person wrote, "I can't stop laughing at the difference between Anthony Bridgerton and Simon Bassett's seating posture." As a bonus, Netflix sues Bridgerton musical creators after live performance. After a live performance at the Kennedy Center, Netflix is suing the people who made a musical based on Bridgerton. Soon after the first season of Bridgerton came out in December 2020, Emily Bear and Abigail Barlow started putting songs on TikTok that were inspired by the show. At the time, Netflix was in favor of the project. They shared a TikTok video on Twitter and they said they were absolutely blown away. But the musical, which is based on exact lines of dialogue from Bridgerton and was made by fans for fun at first, turned into a business with an album that went to #1 on the iTunes US pop charts. The unofficial Bridgerton musical, which was the full album, won the Grammy Award for Best Musical Theater Album in early 2022. As a result, Netflix has sued them for stealing their ideas. Netflix had previously warned the duo to not perform the music without obtaining a license to do so. The fact that Barlow and Bear didn't want to get a license makes things much harder. Fans will probably want to see Netflix as the bad guy in this situation, but it's not that simple. Fan art and parodies can usually be shared online within certain limits, but turning the musical into a stage show with up to $149 tickets was a direct violation of much stricter copyright laws, as was the fact that Barlow and Bear allegedly planned to sell merchandise and tour with the musical. The success of the Bridgerton musical is a great example and source of inspiration for people who make things for the internet. But the complicated copyright issue that came up with fan material can be a problem, as Barlow and Bear have learned. So far, neither creator has talked about the lawsuit in public, so the situation is still changing. The project's future is also not clear, but it seems likely that some kind of solution will be found in the end. Unfortunately, guys, this is all the time we have for today. Thanks for sticking with us till the end. Make sure to like and hit the subscribe button on your way out. Also, comment below which moment you think was the funniest for you. Cheers!